It's ugly, but fantastic. Like I said, the throttle's super sensitive. I'm very impressed. All right, guys, we got the Aerial Rider Grizzly. We're gonna take it out for its first ride and let's see if it's any good. So stay tuned, let's see about it. Before we ride it really quick, I wanna mention that this bike has dual batteries. One right here, has dual hub motors. One in the rear, one in the front. This bike comes complete with a headlight in the front, comes with a tail light, comes with suspension. This bike is ready to go, so let's get out there. All right, so one of the first tests I want to do with this bike is I want to see what the top speed will be. So obviously you can go off the little display right here, which I moved down because I wanted to have my phone up here. I know it's gonna be a little blurry because of sun, but let's see how fast this bike actually does. We're at 100%. Everyone says they get about 36 miles per hour, but I highly, highly doubt it. So let's go. We got a real GPS. Let's go, bike, let's go. 32. So the highest that we're hitting top speed is 32 miles an hour. A lot of people said that you can hit 35, 36, but I personally don't see it. Both motors are on, or we wouldn't be at 100% battery. This thing peels out all the time. Let's see what our top speed is if we just have one motor engaged. So let's do the front hub motor and let's see what our top speed is. This is full throttle, front motor only. We're still getting up there. So about 29 is roughly like what we're getting. So all right, so let's switch it to the rear motor. The rear motor is a lot quieter than the front from what I noticed, but let's see what our top speed is with the rear motor only. It's about the same. It's about 29 miles per hour. And if you switch both of them on, you really hear those motors. And then you can get to about 32 miles per hour. I realized, so on this bike, when I first got it, on the display, the tire diameter was set to 24. So the display was saying I was doing 36 miles per hour, but it didn't feel like 36 miles per hour. And sure enough, when I changed the tire diameter to 20 inches, it went, and now it's pretty accurate and it stays about like 30. So this says 30 and this says 32. So it's a lot more accurate in speed, but definitely not getting 35, 36. You guys probably want to know if this thing does some burnouts, and 100% every single time you take off. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to have a little burnout when you take off. I honestly think that's how the company tuned the throttle. I feel like it's real sensitive, so as soon as you barely touch it, it's almost like when I'm on my Surron, it's like I'm hitting like 70% throttle. It's the way they tune it. So you barely turn it like 10% and you feel it like push. But if you go any farther than that, it's the same thing. It's almost like your full throttle. Let's see how good these brakes work. We'll use just the front brakes. It could be better. Definitely could be better. Now let's try the rear brakes. Just the rear brakes, the right-hand brakes. So the right-hand brakes feel better than the left-hand brakes. Let's see how thing this good is off-roading. Let's go off to the dirt a little bit and get a little action going. Oh, okay, wow, this is where the bike really shines. Wow, okay. That's a lot different than going from a SUPER73 or even my Onyx. I mean, my Onyx is powerful, but having that front power on the front hub, on that front wheel, holy crap. Yeah, that's amazing. That is like absolutely amazing. I like that. I kind of want to go off-road a little. Let's go across and we'll go off. See, barely touching it, it just wants to peel out. See, like look at my hand and look at when I pull it. See, that's like 10% throttle. It's cool though. All right, let's get it, let's go. This might be my new favorite bike to go off-roading with. Now the Throttle is fast, don't get me wrong. The Throttle will like, you know, blast this thing out of the water and power-wise. But the fact that this thing is like more considered a bike other than an electric dirt bike, this thing's pretty fun. I don't know how far we went so far, but I'll just say that we're still at 100% battery, which is insane if that's correct. All right, so right now, no throttle whatsoever. I just have my hands on the bars. We're on speed number 7. Just to see how the bike is to coast it, if you're just wanting to pedal like a normal person. And this feels really nice. It's giving me a little bit of assistance, but at the same time, I'm actually having to work out my legs. I feel a little bit. It's very, very nice. I actually like it. Now I can see why so many people in the SUPER73 community, they put the 10-speed kits in the back. That's pretty nice, I like it. So there's obviously another mode. So we were in 1, let's go up to, we go to 6. So you go up to 6, now this thing really, really takes off. Woo! I don't know if I would actually use 6 a lot for pedaling because it's really, really strong, but whew, this thing is fun in the dirt. Holy shit. This thing hands down beats a SUPER73. I'll tell you right now that the suspension, it's nice that it has suspension. It's a lot better than the ZX that I own, but it is not that comfortable. Maybe on the road, but on the dirt, it is not that comfortable. But the cool thing is that you can adjust the suspension and you can put air into the shocks. So you got that going for you. So maybe just some fine tuning and suspension and I could probably get it to where it's comfortable for me and my weight. I'm not a big fan of these grips or the throttle. I don't like the big throttles. I have smaller hands and it's starting to cramp up my hands after a while. Like these grips are just, they're not made for me. I don't like how they're designed. I don't like that they're flat like that. I feel like I just want some regular ass bicycle grips. Hey, we're hitting 34. I saw 34. We are going a little tiny bit downhill, but we obviously went down to 32. I want to kind of go up that dirt path. I think this bike can do it easily. Oh, it got up it. It's going. Whoa, whoa. It kind of steered me this direction. Like I said, the throttle's super sensitive. Very, very like sensitive. So it's like trying to keep like a nice like throttle down while you're like moving like this. It's really, really hard. But this thing definitely does it. It's nice. Yeah, this thing has all the power you need. So let's talk about this horn real quick. This bike came with all the bells and whistles. It came with, you know, tail light, headlight. This thing came with everything, but look at this horn. What kind of horn is that? Man, they gave me some baby ass horn. But hey, you know, like, I mean, it's better than nothing, but it would have been nice if they maybe integrated a horn into them and maybe charged an extra 50 bucks or something just to have a horn, because that would have been a nice feature to have. It's still saying we're at 100%, but I know that ain't right. I know that ain't right. I should be going off of voltage. I need to learn the voltage of this bike and go from there. This bike is great though, because you know why I love it so much? Is that California law is 28 miles per hour, right? And 750 watts. This bike right now, it says 750 watts on the hub motor. So if a cop saw it, even though it does have dual motors, what are they gonna say? It has 750 watts and it's written right into the hub motor. And if you're doing over 28 miles an hour, like right now I'm doing 32 miles an hour, is a cop really gonna be passing by me or on the other side of the road or maybe on the side of the street, looking at me, measuring my speed and being like, oh my God, that guy is on a bicycle going 4 miles an hour over the legal speed limit of what a bicycle can do? No, hell no, they're not gonna do that. That's why I love this thing, because everyone's so technical about, like, you know, what the law is. And yeah, it's 750 watts and up to 28 miles an hour in California. But they're not regulating it that close. Like, yeah, if I'm on my Sur-Ron doing 40 miles an hour and it's not registered for the road, of course. But look at this thing. You guys seen this bike. It's a straight-on bike. So the cool thing about this bike is that you have the two motors and you can use the front one or you can use the rear one. And then if you also want to, you have two batteries. You have one on the frame, the down tube, and then you have one in the back underneath the seat. You can run either one of those at any time. You don't have to have both of them connected. You can only run one battery if you want, and you can run only one motor if you want at a time. So that's the cool thing. I'm trying to get used to this throttle of this bike so I don't do pill-outs all the time. But I will say that this bike does draw some attention because it has that metallic red to it. And there's so many damn logos on this bike. Now, if we want to talk about how the bike looks, honestly, this is my personal opinion, but I think this bike is way ugly compared to a ZX, like the SUPER73 bikes. I feel like SUPER73 is doing very well in how they make their bikes look. But if you're more about performance than looks, this bike is for you. Because this bike has the performance. So I want to point out, it's not a problem with the bike, but with having the dual batteries, you know, the brake sensors, you know, just all the hardware. Look at this rat's nest. Like, you have so many cables. Like, it just looks messy to me. Like, I'm one of those people, I like to clean up everything with zip ties. Like, I don't mind this because this can be zip tied down here. But look at all this, like all these cables, like these connections. I don't like it. I definitely don't like it. Can you guys hear the front brake? If you really like the look of this bike, then it's 100% for you. Get it over a SUPER73. I'm telling you guys. I'm not a fan of how it looks, but damn does it perform really good. I'm very impressed, especially going in the dirt. I've never had a bike feel like that from factory other than the Sur-Ron, but this is a true like electric bike. You can see how it looks. The Sur-Ron is a whole different level of bike. This is my first actual e-bike that I went in the dirt with that just hauled ass, and it just felt like it just wanted to keep on going to keep your top speed. I like it. I definitely like it. I see why so many people want this bike. And of course, you know, you can do some burnouts too. Like, let's do a burnout. Oh yeah. One thing I want to do super quick is I want to see if we can get an accurate reading on percentage if we turn the bike off and back on, because it still says we're at 100% and I know that's not right. So let's turn it off, turn it back on. Let's see if that's like let's see if that's an issue with this bike not updating. No, it still says we're at 100%. Obviously, we've had to went down some. But yeah, it hasn't said anything yet. Try not to pill out. Just get used to it. If you do own this bike, you're gonna be pilling out everywhere. That's just something I've noticed. Like I said, it's just a calibration on the tuning that they did with the throttle. I feel like it needs to be kicked back a little, so like when you're half throttle, that's when you get that extra power, so you don't burn out every time you go somewhere. It's the most sensitive throttle I've touched. See, now I can pedal with it. Just keeps it going just a little bit. You can hear the motor kind of skipping a little bit because it's not full on engaged. And then when I stop pedaling and pull the throttle, you just hear it constantly going. But when you pedal, it kind of just kicks on every so often. It depends on your pedaling. And then you also have this too, that you can bump it down as you're riding. This makes it way, way easy to pedal, but it also slows you down at the same time because you don't have that momentum of the pedals going across. The SUPER73, as soon as you make like a quarter of a rotation, it just engages the motor fully, like you're on the throttle, like 100%. This one, I feel like it's different. All right, so this is me pedaling. I'm not using the throttle whatsoever. It's so nice and smooth. Very, very smooth. I feel like I'm actually pedaling an actual bike because it does have the 7-speed in the back. I realized that after checking it. And obviously you can adjust it how you want to. So let's go down, let's go down, let's go down. Let's go all the way to 1. Yeah, this gives you the least resistance, but it feels fake. It feels like all my other bikes where I just fake pedal. There's no resistance whatsoever to it. It just feels funky. So I feel like 4 or 5 if you really don't want to work out, but you just kind of want to feel some type of resistance so your feet aren't just moving around like freely. It definitely picks up when you're on mode number 6. There's so many bells and whistles to this thing. Yeah, for me personally, I think I like the highest setting. It actually feels like I'm pedaling. Also, I heard a lot of people not mention it in the videos, and basically this right here, this little screen that's on the bottom, on the very bottom of it, there's a little sensor, and as soon as you plug that, cover it up, make it dark or whatever, then that's when the tail light and the headlight engages. So there's no actual switch for the headlight and tail light, unless it's in the settings, and I have not seen that. That's the only way I've seen how to turn on the headlight and the tail light as of right now. What a fantastic bike though, like, fantastic. It's ugly, but fantastic. All right guys, that's pretty much gonna wrap up the review of my first ride, my first initial impressions on how I like it. Oh. Almost gonna die. And man, is it very, very nice. Oh, okay, be careful guys. Right now I barely moved the pedals while I was sitting here. They barely inch forward, and sure enough, the bike almost took off on me. So maybe turn that down a little bit. So be careful on that. Don't actually move the pedals at all when you're sitting, because it will take off on you, especially if you're in your mode 6 like I was. So first initial impressions, this versus the ZX, or let's say the RX. Hell, screw it. Between the RX and the ZX, is this bike better? If you don't care about looks, 100% this bike does perform a lot better than those bikes. Sad to say it, because the ZX and the RX, all those, even the S2, S1, they just have that cool look to them. They just really have that cool look to them. And this bike just doesn't match my style. It's not what I want to really be seen on riding, because it's just, I know it's out there, it's really not, I don't know, it's just not what I would have. You know, everyone has their own preference. It's crazy to think this thing really performs like everyone says it does. It's a fantastic bike, guys, like, no lie. And keep in mind, I bought this with my own money. I didn't get a hand-me-down. nothing. I bought it with my own money, and I'm actually kind of glad I did. I can't wait so you guys can see the videos coming up in the next couple days where I have my coworkers ride the bike and see what they think, because they're going to be blown away by the power of this bike. Definitely going to be blown away by the power of this bike. And we're still at 100%. Doesn't make any sense. So I got to look into that and we'll see. Alright guys, thanks for watching the review and my first initial impressions riding the bike, and I absolutely love it. Very good bike. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see me ride it more, because I don't just review these bikes and get rid of them after I review it. I actually ride them day in and day out. I'll probably do a group ride with a couple of my buddies. I'll let them ride it. And we're going to get tons of people at my work to ride it, and we can see how they like it and stuff. So if you guys are really interested in this bike and want to know some more about it, stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, and I'm going to definitely have more content of it. So see you guys in the next one. Take care. Be safe out there. Later. Also, do you guys want to know one thing that no one mentions in the reviews that I have seen? This key and this key, they're both different keys. So that means when you take the keys with you, you have to bring 2 sets of keys. No one mentions that, and that's actually a big con. I wish they were both the same. I guess it's a good safety feature, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, really? Now I gotta carry 2 keys around me? It kind of sucks.